Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make a horizontal striped candy cuff like this one. And you can use whatever colors you'd like, and you can stop at any row you'd like. I'm going to go up to the 6th row today because I'm also going to be making a rainbow one again, but using pastel colors this time. And yeah, all you're going to need are beads, elastic, and scissors. So first you're going to want to cut out your elastic like to be a really long piece. You can always tie on more elastic later, but I would say just start out with a long piece to begin with anyways. I'm not even measuring anything, I'm just cutting a really long string. So cut that, put that aside, and then we're gonna start out with the purple beads. Since I'm gonna be doing the rainbow, I'm gonna start from the bottom to the top, from purple to pink or red. You can use whatever colors you like. So first string on an even, you always have to use an even amount of beads. I'm gonna do 26 beads, and I'm gonna start stringing 26 purple beads. So just string out as if you're making like a single stranded bracelet, and then tie off the strings in a double knot, and then I'll show you how to make the second row. I finished making my single stranded bracelet, and I made 2 double knots because this elastic is very slippery, so you need to make sure the knots are really secure because you don't want your bracelet falling apart while you're wearing them, because you would waste all that hard work and effort. So just make sure it's secure. Now we're gonna go on to make the second row. To make the second row, when you tie a double knot, make sure there's a small strand left over like this, and then you're gonna start using the long strand to make the rest of your bracelet. So the long strand right now is coming out of this bead right here, and so we're gonna take your long strand, go through the next bead right next to it on the left, and then pull it through. And now we're going to start threading on the next row of colors, which is the blue. So thread on one blue bead, skip the purple bead right there, go to the next one and thread your long piece of elastic through that one. Like that. Pull it through. And now the blue bead should sit right on top of the first purple bead like that. Thread on another blue bead. Do the same thing, skip the next purple bead right next to that and thread it through the next one after that. You're going to be threading through every other purple bead until you get to the end of the bracelet, like that end of that row. And then we're going to continue doing that. As you're threading, make sure to keep the elastic very taut, and that will help the form of the bracelet to start appearing. So you need to see that the blue needs to be like above every other purple bead like so. If you don't pull it tight enough, all the purple beads will lie in a straight line, which is not how it's supposed to look like. So try to keep the elastic really tight as you go around threading beads. Now we finished this half of the second row. We still need to do another round of blue beads to complete the little gaps. So just right now, pull everything tight like that, and it should look something like this for now. It might look a little weird at first, but the shape will start coming together after you move to like the 3rd and 4th rows. So now you have this bead right there, the blue bead that you first strung on earlier. We're gonna take that long elastic and go through that first blue bead. This will bring the elastic to the next row so that we can start filling in the gaps here. So this is the second row done, and now we can move on to the 3rd color. So just tighten this elastic as much as possible so that you can start seeing the shape. The shape is kind of getting there. You can see how it's starting to look like a cuff. Now we're going to take the long piece of elastic again that you've been working with the whole time and thread it through that first blue bead again. So The elastic is coming out of this blue bead. Now thread it through that one protruding slightly up and pull through. Now thread on the next set of colors that you'd like. So the green bead for me. So thread on the green bead, skip this blue bead and thread through that blue bead that's protruding. So we're gonna go through all the protruding blue beads this time. Okay, now we're on the last green bead. And this step is really important. Like if you mess up on this step, the whole cuff will look wonky, so make sure to get this part right. I'm gonna try to explain as clearly as possible. Now right at this part is the tricky part. Sometimes it's easy to make the mistake of going through this green bead because you think you're gonna start the next row, but you have to make sure that you're gonna string through this blue bead because you're right here, you skip this blue bead and go here. Sometimes this part looks like parallel, that you think that you go through all the protruding beads, but that's not true. You have to still make sure that you go through that last protruding blue bead. So you're at this blue bead, skip this one, go through this one. So make sure you do that, or else your whole cuff will be off. So thread through that blue bead. It looks a little tight, so now when you pull it through, you can see how the shape is right. Now you take the elastic and go through this protruding green bead to bring it to the next row to finish off the green row. Now we're going to move on to the fourth row. So I finished threading through that last green bead right here. Now thread this elastic through this green bead, the protruding one, so that we can move on to the fourth row of colors. But before that, right now I'm running out of elastic, so I'm going to tie on another piece of elastic before I continue onto the fourth row. So just cut out a long piece of elastic again, and then we're going to double knot the two elastics together. After those knots are secured and you've made a few double knots, you can then trim off the excess ends. I like to first thread the excess ends through a few beads before trimming off the ends. I just feel like that makes it extra secure. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Take this long piece of elastic that we just tied on and thread it through that protruding green bead so that we can move on to the next row of colors. Like that. Now thread on the next color of your choice. For me, it's going to be yellow. And thread it through the protruding green bead. So skip a bead, go to that bead. Repeat this until you get through the whole bracelet. We're at the last yellow bead, right there. Thread it through this yellow bead again, the protruding yellow bead right here and right next to it, and continue on with your next row. Continue doing this process until you get as many rows as you'd like. I've just strung on the last bead and I went through that last one. I'm not going to go through the protruding bead like how I usually would if I were to continue making more rows. Instead, I'm going to be making a knot, and it's not the same kind of knot that I've been making, so here's how it looks like. I'm going to poke this leftover elastic under the elastic between this pink and orange. There's like an elastic going through right there, and I'm going to go under that. And then pull it through the loop to make a knot. And then pull tight. Now make a couple more of those loop knots to make it extra secure before cutting off the excess cord. I'm just tucking the extra string through the next few beads like I did earlier with the other knots. And I don't even need to trim off any extra string because I tucked them all in. So there you have it. Oh, one more thing. That starting knot, do the same thing. I'm going to tuck it in. Okay, there we go. So now your bracelet should be really secure and you don't need to worry about it going anywhere anytime soon. So that's how it should look like a rainbow cuff, just like this one. I made it the exact same size, 26 beads, and this one's just pastel. So I hope you guys liked this tutorial, and I hope my instructions were clear enough for you guys to understand, because I know it took me a while to figure out how to do this, and there's not a lot of other videos on YouTube like to show how to make this, and they're kind of confusing, some of them. So I hope this video helps you guys out. And yeah, please subscribe to my channel, like and comment on this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!